Ever wonder why arguments on the internet feel so dumb? It's because people constantly fall for logical fallacies, flawed ways of thinking that make their arguments collapse like a house of cards. Today, we're breaking down 8 logical fallacies that make you look dumb. 1. Correlation is not causation. Just because two things happen together doesn't mean one causes the other. People love to point at rising social media use and increasing depression rates and assume one caused the other. But correlation doesn't equal causation. There could be a third factor causing both, or it could just be a coincidence. Jumping to conclusions like this is lazy thinking, and it happens all the time in the media and research. Second, slippery slope fallacy. This is when someone claims that one small event will inevitably lead to a much worse outcome. It usually goes something like, if we allow X, then Y will happen, and then Z, and before you know it, everything is ruined. But in reality, there are multiple steps in between, and nothing guarantees things will spiral out of control. Fear-based arguments rely on this fallacy to manipulate people into thinking small changes will lead to disaster. 3. False dichotomy. A false dichotomy is when someone presents a situation as if there are only 2 options, when in reality there are more. You see this in politics all the time. You're either with us or against us. But real life is complex. There are usually multiple perspectives, middle ground solutions, and options that fall outside the 2 extremes being presented. Begging the question. This is when someone assumes their conclusion is already true instead of proving it. For example, the Bible is true because the Bible says it's true. That's circular reasoning. Instead of providing evidence, the argument just loops back on itself. If you want to make a strong argument, you need external proof, not just a repetition of the claim. 5. Red herring. A red herring is a distraction, a way to divert attention from the actual topic. If someone is losing an argument, they might throw in a completely unrelated point to derail the conversation. You see this a lot in debates. Instead of addressing the issue, people bring up random facts or historical events that have nothing to do with the argument at hand. It's a sneaky way to shift the conversation when they don't have a real counterpoint. 6. Appeal to the bandwagon, authority, or pity. These are all fallacies that rely on emotion or outside influences instead of logic. Bandwagon. Everyone believes this, so it must be true. Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right. Authority. A famous person said this, so it must be true. But being famous or powerful doesn't make someone automatically correct. Pity. We should believe this argument because it makes us feel bad. But emotions don't determine truth. Good arguments rely on logic and evidence, not who believes them or how they make people feel. 7. Ad hominem. Instead of attacking an argument, an ad hominem attacks the person making it. Instead of debating a policy, people just insult the politician who proposed it. Instead of proving someone wrong, they just call them stupid. It's the lowest form of debate because it avoids actually engaging with the issue. If someone resorts to personal attacks, they probably don't have a real argument. 8. Straw man. This is when someone distorts an argument into an exaggerated, dumb version of itself and then attacks that version instead of the actual point. You support healthcare reform, so you must want the government to control every aspect of our lives. You think we should have some regulations, you must hate freedom. This fallacy is everywhere in politics and social media. Instead of engaging with what someone actually said, Straw man arguments attack a ridiculous version of their stance. It's lazy, dishonest, and makes discussions pointless. Logical fallacies don't just make arguments weak, they make you look dumb. If you want to be taken seriously, you need to recognize and avoid these mistakes. Logical reasoning isn't about winning arguments, it's about finding the truth. And sometimes that means admitting when you're wrong.